Recorded. So now in this class, as I told you that first period, I tried to brief what is semaphore. Okay. In the previous session, in the previous means on Friday class, we tried to understand bounded semaphore. Okay. So bounded semaphore I have used in previous class. Okay, on Friday class I told you that bounded semaphore, it is a class of threading module. Okay, that will be used to restrict access of the threads. So how many threads to be permitted to access the data, means these are the shared resource. Shared resource means this data is being shared by the threads. Okay, so 10 threads I have try to create in the for loop. Okay, initial thread is one. So bounded semaphore I have used it. Just before that, it was in the Friday class, bounded semaphore, and today class I tried to brief only semaphore. Nothing is changed. In bounded semaphore, in Friday class, we have provided this parameter value is equal to 5. So 5 indicates that how many threads will be permitted. So here in semaphore, nothing is there. You need to simply no need a value, simply you pass an integer value. Now everything is equal. This is the object created for the semaphore class. As I told you that object, it is what lock. So everything I have written lock. So lock loc. So now you compile this one, the thread code is executed, means one thread is trying to access, another thread was, so that whenever first thread is trying to access, first thread was granted to thread permission granted, second thread is trying to access, so the third thread is trying to access, second thread was granted permission, so like that. So after after that what, so after five threads, because how many, four we have given the permission, fifth thread is trying to access. Okay, fifth thread is granted because whenever one thread released the lock. Okay, whenever, where is that? So if you remove CLS means clear screen, you compile this one more time. Okay, here if you pass some time slash, that is time dot slash sleep time somewhat time, so it will, they will come very slowly. The interpretation will be done, compilation will be done slowly. So this is the way. So we have given the permission up to only four threads. So fifth thread is trying to access. So but fifth thread is trying to access, sixth thread trying to access, but permission was not granted. You have restricted up to only four threads. So only four threads granted to access the thread, okay, access the resources. So whenever one thread uh, lock released by first thread, that was given to lock released by thread, so that was given to next thread 5. Okay, 5 thread permission access granted to 5 thread. So second lock released by second thread, so that now then that lock handed over to sixth thread, like that. Okay, up to this is so if you change this one as to bounded semaphore, then nothing will be same. Code we need to change bounded semaphore, and here we need to pass the value, means value is what? Value is what? How many threads you want to permit? Three threads, four threads, whatever. Well, rest of the code as it is. Okay, there is no any changement, everything as it is. Just you need to change bounded semaphore. Okay, Okay, now if you compile this one, the same thing, same. Okay, now we will try to do some word for another practice word. I'm going to do one more practice, that is new file, Python file name, untitled. Here we are going to write somewhere another practice over, another practicing over, another practice means another practice class over semaphores. Okay, semaphore. Somewhat we will write the code for semaphores again, some in different manner. So first of all, as I told you that you need to import what? First, import threading module, then import, come down here, import the class, import time, time module also. Okay, time module. Next, you need to do what? You need to do, the code is like what, try to understand. First, as I told you that, first of all, we need to create the lock for the semaphore class. Lock means any lock threading. This is the syntax, but in previous classes we have used lock class. Here I want to use semaphore class, semaphore. Okay, then you come down here. Now lock is created, but lock is opened first, unlocked. Huh? This is the object created for the lock. Object it created for the semaphore class. Then you come down. So create a function here with def access is your access is what? Your function name. Access is your function name. Then one minute. I bat. I want to get the bat because no. Okay, let us start the class. What happened? So now, one there is one function created. Function name is access. So whenever the function is created, it is to be terminated with the colon. Then after, I want to pass a parameter in brackets. This parenthesis. The name is a parameter here. Okay. Now come down here. Now I want to create a loop here. That is, I am using for loop here. For loop. For I in range, this is the syntax. It will help us the IDE, integrated development, and when we use VS Code, it helps us. Okay. So the loop is range is for what? Range for what? Loop to be terminated. Loop range for 6. So then what? The semaphore here, as I told you that we need to pass the semaphore. How many threads to be? How many threads to be permitted to access the resource? 4 threads. Okay. So, but I want to create the 6 threads. Out of them, 4 will be permitted by for loop. Now you come here under the for loop. So resources, the print statement. Under this print statement, one keep your text string type of data. That is, suppose Bharat. Bharat is a string type of data kept in this print statement. Okay. Suppose if you want to see them in horizontal, so use a operator here, that is end. End is equal to double quotation marks. So now what happened? So this Bharat will be printed, but horizontally. Otherwise, if this end operator we will not use it, so print will be printed as Bharat vertically. So let us see that. Next is what I need to time dot sleep. Okay, time dot sleep for what? Sometime I want to give as a okay time For thread to thread, I want to give some word delay time. Okay. Next, you print name. Okay. Next, come down. So first of all, here this once lock is created, na? So that lock to be means we need to use that lock dot acquire. Why acquire means lock to be locked. Initially, whenever lock is created, so that is unlocked. So once whenever we call this method of Semaphore class acquire method, so lock will be locked. Now the resources can be accessed by the thread. Okay. So after this lock to be released, lock to be released, lock dot release. This is the release function. You it is a method of that class Semaphore class. Okay. So this total code I am writing to implement the semaphore. So how the threads are being restricted to access the resources. But here 6 threads we want to create, but apart from that 3 or 4, okay, threads will be permitted to access the resources. That is, then after we need to go for that is thread creation. Okay, suppose T1 is equal to your thread. So how the thread will be created? This is the syntax. Threading dot thread. Thread is a class of threading module. Okay, this is the syntax. Now within the bracket, we need to mention the target. Target is our function name. Our function name is access. So after that, you need to keep comma. After that, you need to pass the arguments. Okay, arguments are what is equal to, syntax is what arguments is equal to. Now this is what access for what. So argument is what you need to pass somewhat like you can keep any string type of data. It doesn't matter. Always the string type of data kept be in double quotation. Okay, thread one. This is the string I have kept here. So that must be with the bracket. Okay, it must be terminated. The comma is very compulsory. Yeah? Okay. After this one, so it is giving red mark means one more parenthesis we need to forward here. We need to keep here. Then your thread is created. So the once thread is created, so that thread to be started t1 dot start. Then what happened? This is okay now. Now see what happened. You compile this code. So first of all, you need to save this as a where we need to save. We go for VS Code Python and here keep any name, file name with the extension py.py. Take any file name extension like that is what that is any number, any name you can take. Take any name like Vishal. Vishal is today's file name. Get .py. Py is compulsory extension. Save. So now it is saved. Your file name Vishal. So now this is called what? So only one thread accessed because okay you have created only one thread. So that's why that printing Bharat, how many times it is printing 6 times. Range we have given what 6 means 0 to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 0 to 5 means 6 times the Bharat text string type of data typed 6 times. So now what happened? Okay, now come down. So what happened here? Try to understand. Uh, this Bharat string type of data uh, printed how many times? By 6 times, because range is 6. 6 means 0 to 6. But last index will not be taken 0 to 5. So only thread 1 access this one. Only thread 1. Huh? So if we want to give the permission to three threads, so you create the three threads here. Okay, creates how many threads? You copy this one. You paste here. Okay, paste. You take one more, create one more thread. Paste. Okay. Now let us see that if I want to, I want to keep what I want to do here. Simply you put the comment. This is also in comment. Now try to understand what is happening. See, this is what is happening. Okay. Now see. So all are you seeing in vertical manner, na? Vertical manner, because this end operator. So if you remove this end operator here, so what happen? All will be printed in horizontal. So this is like what? Okay. So this operator, end operator used here, and is equal to double quotation marks means, so all will be like this. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So for that you need to give somewhat separation here. Then you will get okay. Now this will be printed by only thread one is printing because we have created only one thread. Then after two threads I have created. Open this comment section. Now you name this threads as T2, next T3. This is T3. Okay, now you come down. This is thread 1. You call this as thread 2. Okay, this is as thread 3. Okay, now what happened? You start all the methods. T1 dot start. Copy this one. You start all that methods. Okay, paste. So you come down here. T2 dot T3. Okay, now no issue. Okay. Now three threads created, they started. Now let us see what is happening here. Now let us see. Uh, First thread, thread 1 printed Bharat 3 times. Okay. Next thread 2 printed Bharat, thread 3. Thread 3 is unable to access the resources. But here thread 2 try to access the Bharat. It is a resource, no? This is only one print statement we have kept here, only one statement. Okay, so that statement initially taken by printed by thread 1 3 times. Okay, next is what? Thread 2 tried to access Bharat one time resource. Thread 3 not able to access the resource. Again thread 1 tried to access the resources as 2 times. Thread 2 tried to access the resource one time and printed one time. Thread 3 unable to. Then after, okay, thread 3 one time, thread 2 one time, thread 3 like this. This is what is happening here in Semaphore. We have we restricted the resources to up to 3 threads only. 3 threads only, but how many threads created? 3 threads created. So here, so if I have created 6 threads, then what happened? So try to understand. Huh? So copy this one, copy, you paste, you you copy one more, you paste here. So let us try to create the 6 threads. Okay. How many threads? T1, T2, T3, T4. This is T4, fourth thread. This is fifth thread. Okay. Next, this is sixth thread. Now, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 threads created. Now you call them as this is fourth thread. This is fifth thread. Okay. This is sixth thread. Okay. You now you start them all. Copy this one by one. You start them as so T3. This is a T4. Start the T4 thread. Start 3, 5, T5, fifth thread, sixth thread. So all the threads are created. 6 threads I have created. And then what happened? Let us try to understand this one. So now you come down here. Okay, 6 threads created. Now you compile this code. Now what happened here? So what is happening here? Try to understand that. This is the miracle is happening here. So at the last here we will give somewhat time of this one. That is what time dot sleep. Okay, time dot sleep for how much? Sleep for 1. Okay, this is okay. Seconds. Okay, now what is happening here? Now so now try to understand that. So this is the semaphore class. Okay, within this we have created the 6 threads. They are trying to access the they are trying to access the resources, but we have restricted the resources. Okay, so the resources how many time the means this Bharat is our resource, shared resource print. So that can be printed 6 times, but we have created the loop for 6 times. Means this can be create this Bharat string type of data can be printed 6 times, but we have restricted the resources for the threads. Okay, only 3 times. 3 times. Okay, three times the Bharat can be printed. Okay, so here we have used the semaphore. Here, what we did here, um, we restricted to threads created for 10 threads. Okay, out of them, only 5 threads will be permitted to access the resource. Here, the access restriction is over the threads, not for the resources. Here, the restriction over the threads. Out of 10 threads, only 5 threads will be permitted to access the resources. So here, the restriction over the threads. But now with here in this class, mm, it is a resource. This string type of Bharat is a resource. So this can be printed how many times? 6 times, up to 0 to 5. At whenever I index is 0, Bharat will be printed. Whenever I index is equal to 1, now Bharat will be printed. But for the threads, we have restricted the resources up to only how many times? 3 times. Bharat will be printed. Okay. So let us try to execute that. How many? Here printed for Bharat, printed, restricted, resources restricted. So that's why thread 1 printed resources to Bharat 3 times. So next thread 2 printed 2 times only. Okay, restricted. We have imposed the restricted over the resources, not over threads. Okay, not over the threads. Threads are created. Threads 6 threads are created. So 6 threads can access this resource print statement. But how many times? 3 times only. They can print only 3 times. So that's why thread 1 tried to access the resource Bharat and printed 3 times. Thread 2 only 2 times printed. Thread 3 printed 2 times. Okay, thread 1 printed 2 times only. Then after what happened? Thread 5. Thread 5 has no any. Thread 5 is unable to access that Bharat. Okay, thread 3 again able to access Bharat 1 time only. Okay, thread 6 able to print that resource Bharat 1 time. So again thread 4 2 times printed. Okay, but thread 1 again no any thread 1 is unable to access that resource. This is the resource Bharat. Okay, now thread 3. So this is what here here thread 4 try to access 4 times. 4 times. Even though we have imposed the restriction for 3 times only, 3 times only, but here thread, which thread 4 accessed the resources 4 times. Okay. So here the class, what I want to focus over the class, um, in first period, by bounded semaphore, otherwise semaphore, both are the classes used to restrict the thread level restriction. Thread level restriction, how many threads, this is the thread, how many threads to be permitted to access the resources. Okay, but in this class, second period, uh, under the semaphore class, this value I have passed, this is for what? To access the restrict the resources. Resources what? Your data. Suppose Bharat is a statement, printout statement. Only one printout statement is that Bharat string type of data. It is a resource to be shared by all the 6 threads created here. So I have restricted 3 times to be printed. Okay. So let us see here what is happening. Bharat 3 times. So thread 1 tried to access Bharat 3 times. Thread 2 is unable to access. Again, thread 3 able to access 2 times. So here Bharat 4 times accessed by thread 4. Okay, thread 1 again unable. So thread 2 able to access this one as 1 time. So let us increase this resource access to 4 times. Means now I have increased this resource Bharat will be 3 times to be printed. So now you do clear screen here. Okay, clear screen here. Now you compile this code. Okay, so I have increased the access level, resource access level to 4. So first of all, thread 1 tried to print out 4 times. Okay, but thread 2 2 times, thread 3 2 times, thread 4 only 1 time, thread 5 1 time, thread 1 is not able to access the resources, thread 6 2 times. Okay, thread 2 unable to access the resource, thread 3 2 times. So now come down how? So like this. Okay, if you increase the resources to 5, then what happen? 5 times will be the thread 1 will be able to print 5 times. So now thread 1 able to print 5 times. 1 2 3 4 5. So this is called, we are doing at Semaphore in this class, we are restricting the resources, not the thread level restriction. Only resources they are being restricted. In the first period, we are imposing by bounded semaphore class, otherwise semaphore, only semaphore class. So we are imposing the restriction over the threads. So out of threads, how many threads created? So I want to create 10 threads. Out of 10 threads, only 5 threads will be permitted to access the resources, not a restriction over the here restriction not here over the resources, here restriction over the threads. In this second period, this is our resource, means one string type of data that is put in print statement. Now that will be printed by how many times? 5 times of restriction. Okay, I have imposed it, but 6 threads can be access this resource. 6 threads will try to access this resource, but restriction is up to only 5 times. Means Bharat will be printed. So first thread which will access this resource, that will try to print 5 times. Then after, next thread may be whatever the thread that will access that. So here the first thread one try to print out 5 times. Then thread 2 try to access that resource. 2 times it tried to print out. Now thread 3 one time only. Then after every thread is now thread 2 tries to take this 2 times it tried to print out like this. Okay. So this is called, okay. Now what happened? This is what? Python is what? Python is it is interpreter based programming language. Interpreter based programming language means whatever the code we have written, the total 26 lines of code I have written, this is called source code. Source code means what? It is looking like English, like statements. No? This is source code. This will be converted into machine code, machine language, means object code, converted by your interpreter. Interpreter will convert this source code into object code, means machine language, otherwise binary numbers 0 comma 1. So because 0 comma 1 machine language, binary numbers, binary digits, whatever, all are equal, same. So the computer microprocessor can understand only 0 comma 1. Okay. So here the interpreter based means the source code will be converted into object code. But in Java, what happens? This